Today's podcast is about women's community and why they are so important in everyday life. And joining me is the incredible Alexis Hannagan. She is the founder of Sanctuary Australia, which is a boutique retreat in Lotus, Sydney. And she also runs all the retreats worldwide. So you can catch her anywhere in the world, anytime. She's been doing this for over 14 years, and she has given her time to share this important message for all of us. Now, she blends ancient yogic wisdom with energy healing, with modern biohacking. Now, Alexis creates a very powerful space, a sacred space where people come together, women's community, to raise their energy and also a system to raise to their highest potential. Now, with that in mind, I'd like to welcome Alexis. Morning.
Hello, that was lovely. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you for being in this space. I mean, it is so difficult to belong to individual communities because as being humans, we seem to be part of so many communities. So when we talk about, we belong to here or we belong to there, why do you think women need to have their own community as opposed to family? Because that's a community of friends or,
Yeah,
that blending of both.
yeah,
Everything, actually.
yeah. Well, because we are the weavers, we are the creators of the society. We are weaving our different, if you look at it, any of the indigenous, for example, the Aboriginal communities, a lot of the women, they'll know that woman that's all the way over in that tribe over there, and they know so much detail and have these really deep, intricate, woven relationships. So because we create the frequency of the society, we're birthing the human race. So we're very complex, more than men. We have a much more complex energetic system and emotional system. So we need to have support to be able to process all of the things that we're going through, for example. So when a woman, like I can easily see women who have great friendships, great communities, or a great women's community, I can see her energy, I can see her depth and radiance, and she's processed things, other than a woman that doesn't. That's lone wolfing in the masculine with the boys, maybe working corporate. It's very, very robotic. It's very heavy because she doesn't have the space to process her life and sort her things out. We sort our things out with women, even just by talking, because talking's a therapy. We're producing obviously estrogen, so we're working all of our stuff out with our women. If it is a safe, if we're not gossiping, it's not toxic, we're able to kind of have a therapy session within the community, working our stuff out, oiling the wheels, you could say, releasing the different, maybe we need to have a little bit of a bitching session about like a little bit of a rah, rah, rah rant. We need to have a little bit of funny laugh and just like talk for hours. And then we come back to our man if we are in a relationship, and we're not going to try and work it out with him. We're not going to try and eat his head off and make him feel scared by trying to work all of our stuff out with our man. For example, we're going to have a space, we're going to feel relaxed, we're going to feel juicy and radiant, and that will significantly allow a space to then merge coming with him. So that's just one little thing of why women's communities are so super duper essential. another point is when I was traveling in the Middle East and I was in Iran. I went to Iran. I was managed to teach there. Such a blessing. That changed my life as well because I saw the women are together, the men are together over there. That's a huge part of their ancient culture. Also in India, there's something called the peanut hour where women gather in the community and they're all doing the peanuts, and they're talking about their husband and they're chatting about this thing going on. So in every ancient society, it's just this recent, I guess, we went into the Industrial Revolution, women are in the workforce, we're being taxed as well. It's all about making money off of people. And we're in this very unnatural way of being where women are getting up, Monday to Friday, working a 40-hour week. Imagine if you're bleeding at that time and you've got your cycle and you're meant to be just completely by yourself, going into yourself, releasing the things from the past month, letting it all, and you have to sit at a desk with men and be on, that's obviously very, very against our natural nature. And yeah, we're super duper away from our natural way of natural rhythms. So the women's community, just based on those 3 facts, is absolutely essential. And we can see women who have strong supportive women communities. We can see the radiance coming out, and we can see the ones that are really blocked up and really guarded and struggling and having, autoimmune diseases or burning themselves out. So based on those 3 points, I could speak probably for another half an hour on different factors. So it's, yeah, and we're so far off within this Western society of a natural, normal humans, natural way of women being soft, men being hard. If we look at any basic thing in nature, nature's showing us. So if you look at lovemaking or basically sex, in sex, to reproduce the human race, the woman has to be soft. We have to melt, we have to open. The man has to be penetrative and hard. That's how nature is, but it's inverted a lot of the time. So women are thinking we need to be hard to be successful. We need to not trust women. We need to lone wolf. We need to be individualistic. We need to get the likes. We need to get the plastic surgery or the bigger boobs or lose the weight. And that's going to be success and strong. It's very deep conditioning. So it's been inverted. And what I'm saying is the softness comes from the women's community. Softness comes, we just had a women's retreat on Saturday, and towards the end, the energy was just I was also ovulating as well. So it was just this amazing time where my hormones were just bursting out. And then we just suddenly we weren't even in the retreat. We just start putting this music on. We're dancing. We're just without screaming. It's that's women. That's creativity. You could say that's sexual energy. That's sensuality. That's who we are as women. But we're putting a suit on. We're getting in our car. We're on our phone. We're in the grey office. It's like a joke when we look at it like that, isn't it? When we start to see, because I think a lot of us are so in it, we can't even see how inverted the Western society's got. So yeah.
It's very true. I mean, many societies used to have all the women sharing all the tasks. They would share looking after the kids, replenishing the food, making the food, and then sharing it with the community. And I remember when I was doing fly in, fly outs, and it was very much a male domain. And exactly that, you have to be just another worker, another one of the drones, because you're supposed to, if you expect to get paid the same as a male, you have to produce the same as a male. And therefore, our femininity has to take a step back for the simple reason that you got to harden up. And it was exactly that, there was so much I mean, the best way you can describe it is bitchiness amongst the women, and it was like they were trying to shuffle for a position. And you think, like, I wouldn't trust many of the females because it was all about backstabbing and trying to get a one-upmanship.
Mm,
Whereas with the guys, you spoke to the guys and you knew exactly where you stood. It was black and white. There was
mm,
no hidden agenda
mm,
because we were in that mindset that you just got to go and do and produce and create, and there was
mm,
no space for anything else because that
mm,
wasn't deemed to be viable or worthy of anything or
mm,
worth anything.
mm.
And so therefore trying to have those groups in that environment, it wasn't conducive to anything because there was the arguments, the fights, the holding back, and they're trying to, there was just a lot of silliness that actually happened.
So all of
And
this, all of what you're talking about are symptoms of women being
mm,
completely imbalanced. We're not naturally bitchy. That's like a symptom shows a
mm,
deeper issue. So the issue here is that we are sensual creatures, women. We thrive from estrogen. So we don't men are thriving more from testosterone. So because the
mm,
women aren't being thriving how they naturally would. They're basically being pushed into so that they're you can see any person that's sleep
yeah,
deprived get bitchy. So that's or going through something, you can get annoyed. So what I'm saying
mm,
is it's coming back to the basics of what I said before is like in reproduction, like women have to be soft, men have to be hard. So it's like we thrive from collaboration and chatting and
mm,
making a tea and having a discussion and putting
yeah,
adorning ourselves in oils and like brushing our hair. Like this is
mm,
basics of women, and it goes even deeper. It's like they're not. I would assume in their relationship, how are they even making love? How are they even being penetrated by a man if they're very hardened up? So at the basic level, they're not making love to their life, and that's why you get bitchiness because
there's
like the
that wall.
foundation of
Mm,
life of having that soft touch, even just making like love to yourself, like just touching your body and dancing and moving, and that's how we women we are thriving. And so if that's not there, you're going to get some super duper bitch face women walking around because when we do make love to ourselves, like whether it's just dancing, I'm not even just even adorning and feeling that sensual
mm,
touch, so much stress and heaviness, and our system can reset itself. So, of course,
yeah.
these symptoms are happening when we look at it.
Absolutely. And so, therefore, you get that harshness and the bitchiness, as we said. And that's why I agree with you. It's important to have a women's community, but it's important to have it in the right setting and with the right heart and with the right mindset. Because if they're going to come in bringing their baggage, they're not going to get anything out of it.
Yeah,
And that's why it's important
it
planting the
takes
scene, which is what we do.
it takes about 72 hours for women to start
Mm,
to de-armor, to start to unravel themselves with women because there's been a lot of bitchiness and competition. So the people that are
yeah.
controlling the world have made us think that we have to be competing against each other. So
Mm,
that's also another program running. And so it takes about 3 days for us to start to burn away or alchemize those shields in the heart and that fear of the other woman. So just to let you know, it takes a little bit of time even to open up to each other. And for sure, like it has to be a community that's not about bitch. It can be easily we see women and they're going into like toxicity and talk bitching and this and that.
yeah.
So it has to be a a beautiful space of more mature women who understand these things. And for me, it's interesting. I was brought up in my life, as we were talking just before we press record, in such a masculine family, what I'm realizing now, and world we're in. So my conditioning has been produced like a boot camp, get up, hard work, which has got me to a certain level of success and determination and focus and harden up and discipline. We're talking about doing which is amazing. I'm so thankful that I've been able to got a strong body, I can get shit done, I can really be resourceful. But I realize that that's me being me at even like 10%. What is it even to be a woman? There was no space in my family even to explore the feminine, for the space for the feminine, just because of those ancient, lineage conditionings that's gone on the planet, what I'm realizing. So it's a funny thing for me because I am like a tomboy, like in my past, and now I'm like this woman who's like being feminine, I
Yeah,
guess, in
me
a
too.
sense.
Yeah.
But how cool is that?
Well,
It's
exactly right.
giving us
Yeah,
such
it's beautiful.
strength. And this is
Well,
what I
it's
want to say,
exactly.
though. It's not about just being all airy fairy and flowy, and that's a misconception. Like, if you see nature is showing us we are nature. Nature's showing. Have a look at the lioness. She will fucking rip you apart if you come at her cubs. This is in us women. We are so fierce. We
Yep.
have all these different parts, all these different shades. Like, we are the maiden making the cupcakes, and like, I love that. I want to. I
It's
have that
true
in me.
though. You touch my children and you beware.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I love,
that's
and
right.
the
We
dark.
have that gamut. The softness, the tenderness, the sexuality, and the don't mess with me because it's not going to turn out well.
Yeah, and I really believe that we need to explore and talk about that more. That rage, that animal, or whatever you want to call it, the darkness, the shadow, the rage, the animal part in us. Because if we don't
So,
if we don't acknowledge that part of us and allow that part to be felt and explored, then we're cutting off like half of our power. We're cutting it off,
yep.
and this goes into the sexual energy as well, because this is like that primal, and it's a desire. Like, I I know that we've been so conditioned to feel bad and shame, and like if we're feeling like desire of like some sexual desire, like we can feel our body, and that's this is natural. This is beautiful to feel that heat and that, I've been single for a while and I really want to call in my soulmate. I really want to share love with someone. I really want to. And a lot of us have been gaslit that, like, no, that's needy. That's a weakness. We should be fine by ourselves. But I truly believe that is such a beautiful part of me, this part that wants to hug people, wants to share love. I'm a lover girl. I love romance and like that intimate and making love. And like, that's a beautiful part of me. If I'm pushing and shaming that down, I won't be able to have this deep conversation with you. I'll be more surface level. I won't understand that that's a beautiful part of me. And how do I explore that? Well, I can I can slow down. I can lay on my bed. I can breathe into that because it's in my body. That desire to merge with someone, to feel that passion and intimacy, and explore that in my life. And if I'm thinking, oh, maybe I don't deserve that, maybe I'm not there yet, maybe I'm not fully healed, or maybe that's a sin, I will not be able to even, I won't be able to be an asset to society because I'm cutting an arm off of myself.
That's true. You're segmenting yourself in order to fit into the different areas of what you're doing. And so when you're at work, you're like this. When you're at home, you're like this. When you've got a partner, you're like that. And it's like, hang on a minute. But that's me. Why do I have to segment myself? And we've still got the limbic brain, and therefore it serves us, and it served us well for a very long time. And it's, whether you can call it a shadow or whatever, it's protected us. And that's the animal side of us, which is part of us. There is no point trying to suppress something that we are. And by integrating everything together, we become whole and we're much happier humans. And things flow. It's part of our energy. I mean, it's like you said, we can cut an arm off if we're not being true to ourselves. And so therefore energetically we're minimizing and we're belittling ourselves instead of just saying, it's okay, I'm not harming anyone, I'm doing everything from love. So where is that wrong? Why
Yeah.
shouldn't I continue in this way? So do you think it's important to actually protect our energy, or to share our energy, or to be in it? Because I remember, how part of the energy is you meet people and you go, I don't think so, and you pull away. Or I used to even stand next to people and I used to feel their sadness,
Mm,
and it was like, what is this?
yeah. This is such a huge world that this is the unseen world. So we are so conditioned to live by our five senses. What can I see? What
Yes.
do I have muscles? What's my bank account doing? Is it sunny? What can I smell? What food am I eating?
Mm,
There's life is created from the unseen realm. Chinese medicine knows this. So it's and we know that it's coming from God. God is creating, but we can't actually see the figure God. So
mm,
we have to realize that our power lies within the unseen realm. And this is the journey of Tantra. So I'm on a tantric path. Tantra means you're moving and you're weaving energy for alchemization. The more that we
mm,
practice Tantra, so even just some breathing and moving, the more sensitive we become. A lot of people are numb. They're not allowing themselves to feel. And so they don't understand about this world and why their lovemaking or their relationship or they're not fulfilled. And then, looking at porn, looking at scrolling, looking at more food to just try and fill us up. So once we start to, let's say the first step is just to feel what we're feeling. So right now, am I feeling a bit of anxiety or nervousness to be on the podcast, or excitement or scared or love, or like start to feel what is there? That's the first thing. And the more you do that, the more I would assume all of the repression would be coming up. For me, it came up for years. I was crying for years, not in a depressed way, but all of the layers and years of repression, because I was told that I'm too sensitive and what's wrong with me when I would cry as like a little girl, like I wasn't held in a soft place. So I was like, so I would
mm,
bottle it in, with a lot of people have done. So for me, years, it was just like these tears were coming out of me in my practice. And I'm like, where's that from? But we don't need to know where it's from. So
mm,
the emotion, the energy will start to come out. That's a really good sign. Let yourself go there.
mm,
And we're going to get more sensitive. And so, which is our power. It's power. Our power is our
mm,
sensitivity, because then we know something's going to happen in our life. We know something's off in our relationship. We know we have to shift our programs in our business. We know something big, that's normal for a woman, especially. We know the unknown. We see the unseen. That's what these tantric practices give us. So we absolutely, yes, we need to protect our energy, especially as women, because guess what? Men want our energy. not in a bad way, not in a negative way. This is how it works. We are like the flower. It's not even rocket science. Like, we are 16 times more radiant, more intuitive, more sensitive, more, we have a self-sensory system that is just so much more complex than men. That's why we need women to also be around and to process everything with. Yes, we need to protect our energy, absolutely. And this is what I do with coaching women and the retreats, showing the practices to do that. Because if we want to unleash our powers as women, we're going to become more sensitive. We're going to release the shields. We're going to be open. We're going to be such an asset. People are going to want our energy, which they feel that they
Yeah,
want a piece of you. So
they don't.
we need to ground it. We need to. So there's all these things you can do. Like, there's meditations that build a protective shield around our heart. There's, in the lineage that I teach, Kundalini Yoga, there's thousands of practices that I do, that what we're doing is we're constructing our aura. We actually are building our electromagnetic field. We're building our physical body. We're building our nervous system. We're building our intuition. We're building our arc line. Our arc line is here in everyone. There's a real arc line. You know, when babies are born, they're very bright. You can even kind of see the kind of halo. Like, we have an arc line here. Women, we have a second one here, but men don't have that. That's why we are so aware of what's going on if we are a balanced woman, because we have a second. God has given us more subtle powers because we're not as physically strong as a man. So, and that's what we don't understand as women about. Let's unlock these powers. Let's refine these powers. And this is why we've been repressed, because we have so many subtle powers. And this is then, like, you know, some men are, it triggers men. They get scared and they get defensive. So please know, like, we absolutely need to be around women. We need women's communities. We need to protect our energy. And that can look as basic as, like, for me, I go alone a lot, like, in the day. I'm going to actually move in with another beautiful awake woman, because I realized that's what I need. Someone that's also either by myself, or I'd rather actually be with someone, another amazing woman, and to have these sacred times together, to have my own space fully.
Yeah.
And two, I believe that in all of this modern day age, where you're hanging out with Jack, you're hanging out with Peter, you're hanging out with Sam, you've got all these guy friends, I don't roll with that. My energy's precious. I've evolved myself for 14 years. Do you think I'm just going to give that to any Joe Blow? Like, no, that is for who I'm with. That is for my man. That's for my family. Perhaps I could have an old school friend or an old family friend that you know, catch up with here and there. That's a natural thing. But I do believe that, you know, we are so precious as women, and the energy is just, it's nourishing men so deeply. If we're doing these practices, why would I be giving that to friends here and there and that? It's going to
Yeah.
take from me. It's going to drain me, you know. So
Yeah. I mean, do you think there is a difference between energy and our consciousness? Do you think our consciousness is our energy, and that's what connects us to source, to God, call them whatever you want, or her?
mm,
And do you think there is a difference between the male consciousness and the female consciousness? Because if you take the body away, because they say, you know, once we die, our consciousness continues. And, you know, you can go back and talk about near death experiences. And the Dalai Lamas are a classic example, because they are picked by them remembering who they were when they were a Lama in a different world or a different time.
yeah.
So, do you think that there is a difference between the male and the female, or does it come into play because we're in this physical body where we have hormones, where we are so dense? Because let's face it, the body is dense, that
Yeah.
it becomes so important to actually have that space.
Yeah, I think that our consciousness is consciousness. It's not to do with man or woman. We're in a physical body where we are having a lot of estrogen, for example, they're having more testosterone. So it's the hormones, it's the flesh, it's the system that we're in that makes us different. But the consciousness is like, there's the scale where there's zero there's, you're right at the bottom or you're right at the top, you're at Christ consciousness 500. So 300, I think the world on average is around 2 something, and then we're raising our.
At the moment, yeah, 200.
Oh, okay. So yeah, so the consciousness level is that's what the consciousness is. That's different to energy. Energy is not the consciousness.
Yeah.
They're two separate things. So when our consciousness goes up from, for example, the practices that I do, or praying to God, or reflecting, doing healing work. One thing would just be getting truthful with ourselves. A lot of us aren't truthful. So, this path is about truth. It's not just about healing, and it's a path of truth. So that helps to evolve us and raise our consciousness, and then our energy changes with that. So I'd say they are two different things, and male and female, no, we have consciousness. It's not different between men and women, but men and women, we are very different creatures, and I think that's the issue on the planet, that there's so much conditioning that we want, we're the equal, we're similar. No, we're not equal. Like, we're different. We're very different creatures, and that's what makes us so. That's what makes the longing. The longing is that difference, that magnetism. If he's doing his cultivating his masculine energy, he's lifting the weights, he's earthing, he's eating a clean diet, he's going off with his men, sitting in the bush, facing the life, in that, and I'm chatting with you, and we're having a tea, and we're feeling the feelings, and we're looking at the flowers. Like, it's like an opposite, it's an opposite experience of
It
life.
is.
And then I can, because I'm dating someone that's far away right now, and it's so interesting because we haven't met physically, but I can feel such a connection. I can feel, and this is Tantra, this energy. So
Yes.
because I'm refining myself, I'm spending time alone, I'm doing my practices, I'm detoxing, I take things to detox, do the breath work. He's into it a bit as well. He's an engineer and an anthropologist, so he's not in this, which I love. I'm like, don't be a yogi, don't be all weird on me and talk about emotions all the time. I'm like, it's too similar. Be in your male world. But what I'm saying is, I can feel such a deep connection. We haven't even physically met, but that's the beauty of life. This is actually how life is. Like, the more that we raise our consciousness and refine ourselves, the more we can have. Like, in Tantra, we say that lovemaking starts with the tongue. Tongue is energy connected to the genitals, so it starts with our words, the words that we say, and we can feel such a beautiful connection and such an unwinding and a healing and a emerging just by talking, if we are not dense, if we're doing the healing work to open our energy channels and to start to merge, feel the consciousness connection, and really feel the, and see how fulfilling that is. So then we notice going to the mall and bitching and gossiping and hardening up. It just melts away because we're filling ourselves up from the inside. We're going in and we're being honest with our desires, our longings. And another side note is, like, everyone's different. I am a lover girl. I am this. I was always like, I remember grabbing my grandfather's leg, like trying to hug him, and he's like old English. So he was more like, get off me, what are you doing? And I'm just this loving creature that just wants to share my softness with people, and that's who I've always been, I remember. So we are all unique. As much as I'm saying women are like this, men are like this, there's a whole nother layer of the Enneagram and numerology, and really, like, there's just so many nuanced parts of us as this creature, this soul in this body. And even, my body is athletic. Other women have different, like more curvier bodies, and we have all these different strengths and weaknesses we're given. So it's really a path of truth, of getting to know ourselves and what we need. Do you need more women connection? Do you need more feeling your feelings and really getting in there? Or are you isolating a lot and you need the social thing? It's truly one of the most powerful things that we can take just 5 minutes, just sit by yourself for 5 to 10 minutes and be truthful with ourselves. Like, how are we feeling? That's the power move. This is the power move. This is not consulting, asking a guru. It's not reading a book of. Those things are powerful to get support, have a teacher, have a coach, have a mentor, all the things. But at the end of the day, it's just our journey. It's just me and me, my last breath. It's not my husband can't help me. You can't help me. I have to be truthful. I have to say, I don't really know what I'm doing with my business. My finances are suffering. I got to get a better strategy, or I'm really tired. I need to get another hours of sleep and get into a women's community. That's what I'd say is you've got to go into that inner sanctuary, ladies. We have, like, all the
Oh,
power. It's
absolutely.
sitting in there. Power is just in us, and we've been so weaponized against ourselves. We have been absolutely the deep conditioning of women that there's something wrong with us, that our nose is too big, that our boobs are too small, that we're old now at 40 or 50, that we are just valuable as we are. So all that conditioning of the self-hatred, I see it so much in the women that I help. I've had to really decondition myself to get through that. And that's where I see even relationships going awry, where we feel like we have to prove ourselves to the man. Like, look what career we're doing. Look what, look like we're trying to be good enough. Whereas women, just by our energy, just by our beautiful heart, we have so much to give. Just by our beingness is the gift. We've been thinking it's like once we get the manager role, once we earn the six figures, that is one of the brainwashings.
That's right. I mean, I too, excuse me, I too was born into a very masculine household. I mean, my mother she used to go out to construction sites and measure things up and bring it back so that my dad could make them. So there was always that, well, you got to be able to stand up for yourself. You got to be able to do everything that they do because you got to be self sufficient, self reliant. So we start building walls. So when we're young and we're at the theta stage, which is, when we're in the womb to 7, we're conditioned. You must do this, this, and this. And then when we're older, we're supposed to be breaking things down. And it's like, well, things have served me to now. Why do I have to break things down? Like, what's wrong with me? Is there another layer of me that's not quite right? And it's like, no. It's like once you start to soften, you start to understand that all these facets of who we are fine. And you can call on them, but it doesn't mean that you've got to become it. You can use it as any other tool, but you can still have the softness knowing that who you are is perfect. Everything you need is within you. You just need to tap into it so that you can allow that intuition to come through, because there's nothing wrong with it. You don't have to compete with someone else. You can be sharing the space without the competition.
Yeah.
And that is what you and I are both trying to get people to realize that they are enough, that they have everything they need within them.
Yeah.
And the recognition is where it comes. And it's not about beating yourself up because you're not there. It's about And okay, I'm not there yet. I'm up to this stage in my journey, and that's fine. It's not
Yeah.
about pushing, it's not about shoveling, it's not about working harder to get there. It's about allowing. It's about that
Mm,
softening.
mm,
And so,
mm,
as you said, with the breath work, with allowing the energy to come through, with
mm.
being part of a supportive community so that the oxytocin can come through and it makes everybody feel happy.
Yeah.
Everybody wants some.
Yeah. Totally, hon. I
Well, it's
love that.
true.
Yeah.
We all
Yeah.
want to feel that, to be energized, to feel whole, to understand and to recognize what's happening in our body. When we get up and we're tired, it's like, did we not sleep well enough?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
recognition is the first step into making any changes.
Yeah. It sounds like what you're saying is enough with the five senses, enough with the
Yeah.
looking out there at what Sarah's doing. And this is such a pattern I've seen in myself and pretty much every woman I've worked with is we're so
Yeah.
conditioned to think the answer is, or even if you're building a business or a relationship, it's like, oh, maybe coach has the golden ticket. That conditioning that the
Mm.
goal, the answer of how to do the business or the relationship, it's in someone or
Mm.
something else, and we can be
Yes.
consistently. And what happens is when we looking out there, we become confused, and we start comparing, and we start to be confused, and we're not content. So this is the pattern. So when we notice ourselves
Yeah.
doing that, and this happens all the time. It's not like we're enlightened. I mean, if I was enlightened, I'd probably not be here, because then I'd leave my body and be somewhere else. That's what I believe. So I'm saying that we all go through these things. Like, none of us are perfect. Even someone that you're following with like all these followers or looks like the perfect person, they'll
Or the
maybe start,
gurus we go
the
for.
gurus, like we might start like looking at what that person's doing and being like, oh, look at their family they
Yeah.
have, and getting to that. So as soon as you notice ourselves doing it, because it's like what you just said, it's like, how can we do that? How can we do exactly what you just said? Most people are struggling. So the way that we can do that is we have awareness, we've left ourselves, we're looking out there, we're feeling like we're comparing, we're feeling confused, we're feeling exhausted. What do? We
Yeah.
take a breath, we close our eyes, we put the phone down or whatever it is, and we go back
Mm.
into our inner sanctuary, and we start to
Yes.
notice how we're feeling. And what happens is we start to contain ourselves. We start to contain our
Mm.
own experience, our own energy. We're bringing ourselves back into ourselves, and we remember why we're here. What is our why? What is our purpose? What is our mission? What is it? It could be healing. It could be, I'm writing books, I'm being a mother, and we get back on that mission and we focus on that. We're directly focused on that, and we continuously do this as a practice. We bring ourselves back. So if you're thinking, oh no, like I'm failing, like, no, it's okay. We're all
Yeah.
falling off the wagon. And that's what I'd say to do, is just to close, come back in, chant a mantra, do a meditation, do a breath for 1 minute. Find a way to remember who you are. Perhaps it is calling on your ancestors. Perhaps it is looking at your grandma, your mum, all the powerful women who've gone before you, thanking them. That's something that is awakening in my life, because I recently lost my mum. This whole strength that exists from our ancestors. I didn't know this before, and I've been in so many retreats and I've heard people say, call the ancestors in. I didn't fully get it. Now I do, because I've lost my mum, and that's a whole nother level of support. So it's like, how can you find energy? How can you hunt energy and strength and support? That's the game. That's what I believe. What is that? So for me, it's the sun, it's women's community, it's breath, it's my practice, it's organic food, it's talking to people like yourself, it's it's like if a conversation is draining our energy, maybe walk away, stop that conversation. If this person, get away from. If you talking about the annoying masks or whatever you think is annoying on the planet, if that's pissing you off and draining you, perhaps stop talking about that, or see a way where it
Exactly.
doesn't drain your energy. You'd laugh about it because it's all about energy. So we're hunting
Yeah.
for energy, which is our power. So a lot of women come to me and they're like, I don't feel like, how do I believe in myself? How do I confidence? So one way I'd say is do the things every day that are amping up your energy, what I just said, and start to cross off the friend that is draining you, the whatever it is, hanging out with the guy friend that's just he's just getting your energy, draining you. Like cut that person out. Not to be mean to people, I'm just saying we have to be ruthless.
Not me.
We this is one important, beautiful, powerful life, and as a woman, it's the highest incarnation because we're giving the humans, we're creating the human race. Like God gave us a womb to be able to build a baby. This is so sacred, our incarnation. Do we think it's okay to sit at the mall gossiping, getting drained, or with someone that's not right? No, we have to protect our energy. And the last thing that I'd say is, if you're thinking like, yeah, how do I empower myself? Like, we are born with power. We are, but it is a funny thing. Like, we're born with power. We're born enough. But this whole journey, of course, is also about finding our, what's the word? Self-esteem. That's a normal thing for us humans. Like, we're finding our self-esteem for men and women. We do the podcast, we're building our self-esteem up through speaking on the camera, through doing the retreat. That is actually normal, as that is the journey as well. So as much as I say, women, you're enough just with your energy, it's a funny also conjuncture, which we also are building our self-esteem as well. So how do we do that? It's our decisions. It's all of our little decisions. Like, do we eat the croissant we're laughing before or not? Do we keep putting the sugar into our body when our intuition's saying, honey, you just can't, you're going to get an autoimmune disease? Or do I go on those dating apps that are exhausting me and I'm just spinning my wheels, I'm not really getting there or not? Do I go for the walk every day that I really need? No, I need my intuition screaming at me to walk, or go into a women's community, but I'm not. So it's like these little decisions are where our power lies. It's not the grandiose thing of like the marriage or the car or the ring on the finger. It's your little decision to go, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not resting enough. I'm burning myself out. I got to change that.
Mm.
Let me, I
Yeah.
won't
And I
hang
mean,
out with,
you just, sorry. Yeah.
yeah, you go.
No, it's true. I mean, you just mentioned that you lost your mother not that long ago. And obviously, all the work that you've done, you've got the understanding, the strength to move forward. And I'm sure you've had that some setbacks that you've gone, I miss her. I want to hear. I want to hug. I want to be able to pick up the phone and talk to her. You don't need the phone, as I'm sure you just communicate with her. But it's
Yeah,
showing up for yourself that has given you the strength to move forward. And I don't know about you, but when you have a setback, which is the loss of someone that you really love, part of you dies with them. But then part of you doesn't, because it's the part that you've built and the love that becomes, for me, became even more powerful after my mum died. And I did go through it was terrible. I shaved my hair off, and
oh,
it was very interesting times. But
yeah,
it's the fact that our words are energy, our actions are energy. And depending on where you want to do and how you want to show up for you every day, is how you start doing the small steps that will lead you to that bigger picture. Now,
yeah,
1 or 2 decades ago, there was no way we could have had this kind of conversations because they would have said, oh, this is so woohoo. But science is starting to back it up. How do you see all this shift? When do
Mm.
you think all this shift happened?
Mm. I see a lot of it on tour 2012. So a lot of people say this same date. I also had a big shift and went to India and did my yoga training. So there was a conjuncture in all the planets, and it's a whole astrological thing. On 20212 was a shift, and many people had big awakenings at that time. So just even think where you were. Maybe you left your job, or maybe you suddenly started to realize there's energy in your body, because we are in a middle part right now. So the trees coming out through, cracking through the pavement, it's trying to, that's why there's so many rocky things on the earth right now. We're in this new birthing period right now, where we've shifted to the Aquarian age from the Piscean age. And this is a very phenomenon on the planet, because we go through different epochs, we go through different stages, or even just like the Renaissance stage or the dark age stage. So there's different, like a woman's cycle, life is cyclical, it's not just the same. So right now is a very important time to be alive. It's not a shitty time to be alive. I know it feels really challenging. It's a very important, because there's such huge change coming from the Piscean to the Aquarian. Piscean was me, was power, third energy center, was individualism, was
Right.
pushing people out of the way, was all this masculine, macho-ness and raping and the earth. So we're shifting, we're in a shift, we're in the Aquarian, but we're just at the start, and this is going to go on for some thousands of years. So that's why we're having these conversations, and suddenly we're talking about energy, and we're the feminine energy within the planet. It's aiming to rise, because it's been pushed. Like, it's obvious if you just look at the raping and pillaging of the earth, and then if you just look at the repression in our emotions, and us not like putting oil, like just like softening on ourselves, and just even crying some tears. Like, the amount of women who say, I don't really cry. It's like, the funny thing is, though, when we cry as women, when we feel and we allow that energy to move, our libido, our aliveness, it takes off. And that's what women want. We want to feel the juiciness, the aliveness. But then at the same time, then the mind's like, no, that's weak.
Fine.
I've got to be successful. And so we're holding it in. So if I say to women,
Yeah.
let yourself go, scream, cry, be free, and the energy will start to move, and you'll feel alive. And guess what will happen?
Yeah.
That energy beams out of us, and we start to, we're a magnet. We start to actually, this is our radiant body. Our radiant body is so powerful in us women, but for so many of us, it's dull because of all the baggage and all the emotions we're repressing,
Yeah.
and the masculine energy we're in. So we naturally are receivers as women. So that's one huge thing of what's happened in my life. I've been producing, I've been the nice girl, I've been there for everyone. Someone messages me, I write straight back, and that's a pattern I've realized. Hey, I have to go into receiving, because as much as we write to the social media, do this, do that, we're not going to be as prosperous or effective. We can't be our true queen, powerful self if there's no space. And that's another little thing of if we're in talking
No,
about
I agree.
romantic relationships, men
And I mean,
they want to give to us. If a man's in he wants to help. He wants to, doesn't he? But if we're there with all our helping and we're telling him what to do, there's just going to be that the clash.
absolutely. Yeah. And I mean, even your words, when you say different words, they either lift you and you can see it in your face, or it's like, ugh. And I mean, also in Chinese medicine, that oppression feeling, it's part of the lungs. So when you grieve, it's like you can't get your breath. And even if you force it, fake it till you make it. It assists the body to move, to be able to open up, to feel lighter, and then it just comes naturally. So,
Yeah.
taking all those little steps are very important because you're feeding your soul, you're feeding your body energetically, you're becoming lighter and brighter and happier. And if you're happier, there is a terrible Australian saying that says, happy wife, happy life. But it happens to be true because, as you were saying, we're the energy center, and it just comes out of us. And when our
Yeah.
toric field is nice and happy and healthy, everybody wants to come near it because it's like, ooh, that feels so good.
Yeah. I
Always
know.
someone,
I
yeah.
keep referencing sex, and I don't. It's like a kind of funny joke right now. I'm like, why am I keep talking about this? But what's coming to me now is the egg, like the start of life. We're that round being. We are that round epicenter of life, and then
Mm,
they know now that the one doesn't just come in. We choose. So our consciousness as that round ovum, it has that intelligence to choose the strongest one. So think about what that means for us as a woman. Are we really
that's right.
here to chase after opportunities and to be like a man and produce and push forward? No, we're here to
Mm,
choose. What do we want? How do we thrive?
true.
What's our desires? We choose and we hold that vision and we know we're enough and we stop comparing and competing. We start to love our life and we do things that build the energy, build the power. And we're like a radio transmitter. We're building the transmission frequency, we're building it, we're laying in the sun, we're doing our meditation, we're at our women's circles, we're doing our breath work, we're adorning ourselves in oils and a beautiful dress, and we become so palpable. But this is where women go wrong is and I've done this so much, I can generate a lot of energy. I'm a manifesting generator and I love all the Kundalini yoga. I generate it and then I give it, I'm helping this person, I'm talking to that, I'm answering that phone call, I'm hanging out with that person, I'm giving them advice, and then I'm depleted and then I build it back up. So before you ask, do we need to protect our energy? Absolutely. That is, I would say, one of the key, because that's a true practitioner where we're generating energy through different yogas or whatever we're doing, Tai Chi, but are we actually building it up? And then it goes into deep energy reservoirs, and that's where youthfulness is. That's where the ability to procreate or be strong, be youthful, be vital, be sensual is where it turns into that deep energy. And then just you can feel people who are building that up. So we really need, I feel like
Yeah.
that's the main message of this transmission is, ladies, we have to know we're valuable, feel our worth, protect our power, which is our life force energy.
Mm,
There's no
agreed.
other way. You can generate it, but if you're not protecting it, it'll be sucked, even just scrolling, you'll just see all this news and then just sucked out of us.
Yeah. So because we allow our energy to dissipate, because we start to think of this and this and this and this, and
Yeah.
we should be like this, and why don't we look like that? My nose too weird, or my boobs too small? And exactly right. We allow ourselves to get diluted. So absolutely, female communities are very important, I think, and male
Mm.
communities. So they can do their thing, but we've forgotten who we are and why the importance of getting together on, and I say from heart because I think it needs to be open and honest and authentic so that you can actually benefit from it. for
Mm,
yourself, for those that you're sharing the space with.
mm. Yes. And one more
Yeah.
thing I'd say is we learn differently to men. We learn
Mm.
not by looking at the whiteboard and writing notes. We learn naturally by seeing life, by feeling, by seeing how this woman shows up, by seeing how that woman is sensually in her body, by seeing how that woman's mothering, by seeing how this woman's running her business or
Mm.
communicating to me, and what upgrades she's gone through in her life. We learn by experience, women. So just by being with other
Yeah.
amazing women, we're
Mm.
upgrading, learning, healing. It's all happening. And we receive the frequencies of women. This is a very real phenomenon. So if you're around me, for example, and I'm disciplined, I'm doing my practices, I'm doing this and that, running a business, you're upgrading by being in my aura. This is how it is. We're
Yes.
upgrading each other. We're getting downloads. So get yourself around women who are in the arena, and it doesn't look like women. I think we tend to think they're going to look so successful, and they're going to be talking about how much money they're earning, and they're going to be in this perfect dress with makeup on. It could be look like a woman just sitting there owning who she is and being in whatever. Maybe she's pissed off, maybe she's crying, maybe she's just had a shitty night with the child, to sleep, not sleep, but she's owning who she is, and she's sitting there and she's just got a t-shirt on, and that frequency may be exactly what you've needed to see. Like, whoa, that woman is embodied, like she's just unleashed in her own way. So like with even the
Absolutely.
thought of success, like you tend to think, oh, these are going to be scary. They're going to be talking loud and talking about their businesses. Like that's the conditioning as well of what we even think it looks like in our mind.
Mm. Absolutely. And with that thought, we have to be authentic. And from authenticity, you end up even dying happier because you've done you. You haven't done someone else. So,
Yeah.
consciousness, energy, the way of Kundalini, the way of showing up for yourself so that you can, you know that you've got a healthy self esteem is what women's group are all about from, you know, all that we've discussed. And I think it's been brilliant. So thank you for that.
My pleasure. It's been so
Is there
lovely to.
anything else you wanted to add before we farewell one and all?
I think that all of us, men and women, we just want to do a good job. Like I always remember myself stuck in corporate, not knowing what I'm doing or feeling confident, and just so much
Mm.
stress on my shoulders because of that. And when I look at it, it's like I just wanted to be able to do a good job, whether that is doing marketing, running
Yeah.
my business, being a mum, and I think it boils down to just being ourselves, being
Mm.
honest, like, hey, I'm just feeling quite a lot of grief right now. I think that's where it all comes from, as you said, is that authenticity of the armor,
Yeah.
and then all that pressure leaves, and then we can do a good job because we're not in that world of repressing how we're feeling because we think that's not
Mm.
successful. So I'd just say, look, we all want to do a good job, honor how we're feeling, have communities that hold you in that, or have a therapist or a coach or a mentor, and or if you can't afford that, or whatever's going on, have a community, because you will just grow and learn and heal and be able to, if there are people doing the work and they're authentic people, that will just be uh, superseding your journey. And it's not a luxury, it is an absolute necessity if you are on this path of truth and healing and spirituality, or whatever you want to call it, personal development. We need the group.
Absolutely.
What I've realized. So
Yeah.
yeah, leave it with that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with me and sharing your knowledge with everyone who's going to be listening to this.